Hello, Sue Clarkey with you for Perspective. Quick pop quiz for you. What American television series ran from 1959 to 1964 with a total of 156 episodes? More clues? Its creator, narrator, and more often than not writer, was born in 1925 and died in 1975. Even more? It's considered to be the first real adult science fantasy anthology series to appear on television. Got it? OK, with the answer, Canberra-based historian Barry York.
Consider, if you will, a 10-year-old boy bathed in the blue-grey hue of a television cathode ray, clinging to every word of dialogue, every scene, every change in pace and mood of a weekly half-hour series, palms sweating in anticipation of the inevitable twist and message in the tale. The place is Brunswick, Melbourne. The year, 1961. The boy is me. And the series is The Twilight Zone. Now fast forward to 2008, and that boy, now 57, stands in the middle of leafy Bennett Avenue, Binghamton, upstate New York, outside the house in which the Twilight Zone's creator, Rod Serling, was raised. Have I wandered into a Twilight Zone episode? No. This is part of a family holiday, and it was inconceivable to me that we could visit New York and not make the 3-hour trip upstate, way off the tourist trail, to Rod Serling's hometown. We're greeted at Binghamton by Larry Casson, founder and director of the annual Rod Serling Video Festival. Larry is as generous as he is fast-talking. He also has the most infectious laugh you'll find anywhere on the planet. He shows us the main Serling sites, the high school Serling attended, the permanent exhibition at the Forum Theatre, the star engraved into Binghamton's Walk of Fame, and the carousel at Recreation Park that inspired one of the best episodes. In that episode, called Walking Distance, an overworked executive is so desperate to return to his childhood home that he actually does so, only to learn that he belongs in the present, not the past, and that life is best lived by looking ahead with confidence. His career as a successful teleplay writer predated The Twilight Zone by several years, and the first of his 6 Emmy Awards was won in 1956. He devised The Twilight Zone because he was frustrated by the interference of television sponsors in his earlier dramatic scripts. A case in point was his teleplay, A Town Has Turned to Dust, which he based on the 1955 murder in Mississippi of 14-year-old black American Emmett Till. The television network and sponsors emasculated Serling's strong anti-racism message. As Rod Serling later put it, by the time A Town Has Turned to Dust went before the cameras, my script had turned to dust. Emmett Till became a romantic Mexican. The setting was moved to the southwest of the 1870s. The phrase 20 men in hoods became 20 men in homemade masks. Serling decided to evade future censorship by making his social criticisms through allegories of science fiction and fantasy. The Twilight Zone was an important prelude to the rebellious spirit of the second half of the 1960s. In The Twilight Zone, stories were not always neatly resolved, but often left the viewer wondering, thinking for ourselves. In the zone, perspective is played with and undermined. The values and principles holding the series together were clear. Prejudice and tyranny are always wrong, democracy and freedom right. Yes, as my wife never ceases to remind me, episodes are often dated, sentimental and naive. But frankly, I prefer that to the current cynicism and negativity in popular culture. Serling wrote in the democratic tradition of Dickens, Twain and O. Henry, which meant that the Twilight Zone is a place where we meet everyday people. For all their quirks and failings, they are attractive enough for us to believe in their capacity to overcome problems. And that is the philosophical path the Twilight Zone helped set me upon. Pessimism, be it of the old Cold War or current green type, needs to be replaced by optimism and courage. People are the solution, not the problem. Lesson to be learned, not just in the Twilight Zone, but from life itself.
Barry York with today's perspective.
You've been listening to another ABC Radio National podcast. ABC Radio National, on air and online, with many of our programs available as podcasts or MP3 downloads. All the details at abc.net.au/rn/podcast.